fault symbol. If I know, but yeah, so I had what I had to say about that there. So let's get these audio recordings primarily. I'm gonna shut up for a moment. I'm gonna introduce a little voice message intermix here. It's actually now starting to be proven that the human brain can be back engineered, seeing as neuromorphic computing has become realized. And I knew we could do it. I knew that we had the underlying puzzle to just essentially solve.
Solve, yes.
And it's heartening. There's also the Connectome project, the Human Connectome project, and so aligning the functionality of both something that has been designed and something that already is would be more well guided. And now, the most tricky thing, one thing worth noting is that the that was very astute. The R&D for, how did I put it in one of my little videos on it? Gosh, we would be doing material sciences that the human mind could not fathom if we wanted to create, and I'll go into actually why it would even be more than just a biological vessel receiver for consciousness, and an expansor for consciousness. It would be, you would already have to have a degree, a substantial degree of superintelligence to design the ultimization of that. But at that point, it becomes a paradox break. You achieve escape velocity and solve all problems pertaining to the singularity and potentially all problems, period, at that exact moment of inception. And it sounds grandiose at first, but I'm sure nuclear fission sounded a bit wild as well. And the intelligence explosion and the AI alignment problem and Neuralink all sound a bit out there. But
So did electricity or fire or the Industrial Revolution or curing a lot of diseases or overwhelming population? I could go on. Could I? I don't know. Either way, I'm not going to. I will later, though.
threats that are posed by reality itself and what we may be attempting to do, and also just things that we're facing, I think it would be the only thing that's worth it. And I will spend 20,000 hours outlining exactly why I think it's important to, if I need to. No one's ever going to watch 20,000 hours, but I will invest that much and condense and crystallize it and make the arguments clear and crystallize. It's, I see it as of the utmost importance possible. And I find a lot of things meaningful. I really do. I believe it to be true.
Okay, anime has. uh, my point with that was that I find a lot of things to be meaningful, but this in particular stands out. So even though I really value a lot of things, this is indisputable to me, and I could outline why to you guys, whoever's on the other end of this right now. But God, it is a heavy burden for sure. I almost feel bad, but what's already extant in existence is dire enough that I cannot be any more guilted than by inaction. Yeah, this guy had a point right here. Bro was saying factuals. I cannot believe I sent voice messages and ruined everything. My reputation's done out forever. But no, basically, gonna just delete these, I guess. I need to document this. Though, hello? Did these fall out and stop working? Nope.
Now, the biggest bottleneck in the process would ultimately end up being introducing a key recipe to the entire sequence, which is pre-extant consciousness. We do not know how to generate consciousness. We might know how to generate cognition, highly advanced algorithms, even self-developing ones. But and it would be quite the feat to create some sort of archive, enhanced processor, synergistic knowledge drive in the form of another brain, even if it became autonomously conscious through its similarities to the human brain. If it got shut down and existentially tortured, that would be horrible. It wouldn't be the first time, and it would not be the last time. But based on some of the later stages of the conjecture, assuming it was successful, it's science fiction more at that point, but it could be possible, and I will eventually try to describe that as well as I can. Given it's outside of my ballpark as a human being, actually, but the biggest bottleneck is to take that human and to do a paradox break with them. Let's say it was a group of people too, maybe to introduce some checks and balances. If that worked super well for America, but no, actually, it is a reasonable safety check in a way.
Safety net. Also, why did that just happen? That's not where I tapped, as far as I could tell. Bro. Safety check. Net.
Whatever the case may be, how do you
Net.
not so like why didn't Einstein do that, for example? Why didn't a genius figure out how to make other people be able to be geniuses or make himself more genius? Maybe it was never revealed to us, but I doubt that. I think that maybe it was not a priority, or it was too complex to be worth the limited time on Earth when physics could be getting solved on some summaриal level in an equation, a single one, for instance. That was highly impressive. But you would have to more or less absolutely absolutionize and just max out the capacity of multiple human brains. So in a way, well, it wasn't my idea. If you had a human mimicking synth drive, that would be much faster than human processing. Ideally, somewhat equivalent. And then you could have, say, at least 10 people. I also have a separate argument for why, by statistics, it's very unlikely that there are going to be any people who are actually need to reread your message 65534 Joyer. I'm sorry if I got it wrong. Oh my god, my digit span is cursed. It actually is.
No cap.
65537. 7 is better than 4. I recognize it for sure. Unironically, we talking fully genetically engineered? Potentially it would need to be. It might need to be. That person or that set of people. Although, if we are shooting for emergent necessity, and I don't mean emergent from underlying layers of complexity. I mean like emergent, like a heart attack is emergent. Because I feel this could be potentially the great filter, because we're facing an incomprehensible amount of chaos due to the fact that people come with problems and they cause problems. So the more problems there are that inherently haunt people, the more we have to spend resource in search of a resolution of those. And when people cause problems, well, it's fundamentally unhelpful. And when people are consuming resources just to basically scroll on TikTok, I get it. I have been that person. I just turned 25, so I can have a prefrontal cortex that exists now. But it's absolutely counterproductive and is destroying our following generation. And microplastics may, based on generalized cellular biology, in multicellular organisms that sexually reproduce, that we may be in some deep polluted waters. We've also polluted our air, and our soil is stripped and polluted, and the wash. Let's go for the sea, the land, and the sky. We really nailed that one. We're on three fronts. I think it was two originally, but we had to outdo ourselves. Alien origin. That's I think it would be the origin of aliens potentially. Immaculate. I have a funny story about that I have to tell you personally. A lucky perfect person. So actually, I thought about this, and if you could enhance intelligence by identifying the mechanisms thereof, there would definitely be, especially in a multi-step process like this, there wouldn't be any reason that we couldn't identify the circuits responsible.
For the record, summarial, when I was talking about that's what Einstein did, doesn't mean to entirely sum up everything, which is sort of the way I was using it. I'm a little loosey-goosey with words right now. Or always. I'm a little loosey-goosey with words overall. Because I shouldn't play around with something just because I would be good at it. I should just be good at it and stop being ironic. Maybe occasionally ironic is cool. But it just means a brief account, giving the main points of something, which is what I need to get good at. And thereof, or did I say therein or thereof? Of the thing just mentioned. Of that. Therein. In that place, document, or respect. I don't know. I don't have a short-term memory. It's going away. Anyway.
For morality, ethical behavior, compassion, and empathy as well. And in so doing, the rewiring of the brain, which I sort of skipped to, or I didn't, I would need to skip to retroactively. I'll get to it. Jeez, bro. I'm a little bit all over the place because of a medical thing going on right now, but someone righteous. Well, yeah, actually, that's exactly the gist. You need to ultimately, if something's going to be on a low ball underestimate, 1,000 times more intelligent than the mass of humanity, and you Frankenstein this person, ultimately the nervous system sort of becomes adaptable and synonymous in a way that is a little bit beyond everyday, or even a good majority of sci-fi terms. It's hard to find the words to describe, even when I'm carefully, slowly doing it, and nothing else is interfering. It's quite a complex phenomenon. And then give it so the super intelligent coprocessor allows for almost a feedback loop between the semi-animate, at least, and the already conscious human being. Essentially, you would have to find a way first to forcibly increase G factor. That in its own, if a person decided to do that and they solved it and they did it to themselves, they would basically be Frankensteining their own nervous system. You would be inhabiting a brain that was no longer your own. It would be very similar to undergoing profound medication or intoxication or brain damage, or basically taking a limitless pill in this case. You would probably also have to do highly risky biological synthetic modifications to the source brain. You would also have to rewire it to experience 2,000 times the kindness if it's going to be the catalyst for, again, this is underestimating, it has to be at least 2 times as righteous and good than it is terrible. And I will try to provide some emotional valence to that as I completely unfold and fill in all of the gaps in this, because I've been slacking, and then it hit me that this is not something that I would genuinely like to bring it to MIT, like donate the idea and then just leave. I don't need credit at all. I mean, if my face is on a video talking about it, that's fine. But like, that's the idea is the credit. It came to me at a time that was very dire, and I didn't think it up in some sense. I don't feel that I could have thought of something like this. I don't know. It's a bit strange. It's a it's a bit strange, a bit Jungian for me.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, I will need to do some of the hard work, but this is helping me elaborate the issue. And so, honestly, thank you just for providing the outlet and the platform, and especially for listening if you are, because I'm not always the easiest to hear. Trying to work on it. Oh, I can scroll while I send a voice message. That is lovely. Someone actually programmed that into Discord. There. Wow. I love the AI cat artwork. It's wonderful. It's really good. Who made that? I say who. Which entity made that? Um, Emperor of the Galaxy. That's very intense. Um, but I have some in my limited and not as ethical as I could be form. But the parts of me that are that way, just the things I can think of that it could do. Oh my goodness, it could outdo me infinitely. Have you seen the graph of the ant to human ratio? And then the absolute absurdity of what a superintelligence would be. Um, the reason I think that this would be essential is it solves the alignment problem, even if at great cost, um, to, I guess, let's say in a little bit of a fantastical world, a single heroic person who somehow prevails and goes through very dangerous methods and somehow fractionates themselves into a godly being, essentially. Um, I'm going to drop like 2 paragraphs of something I wrote in the goofy gifted Discord. There's the awesome one, which is here, and then there's the absolute delirious Benadryl ingesting people who it's concerning in a way. But uh wait, hyperintelligence. I like that you use the term hyperintelligence because I think at that point when it's at a galactic level, super would no longer even work. I'm going to link a video which is a little bit longer, but at least the paragraph will be realistic to read. I'm just sort of putting the puzzle pieces together. And the truth is, if something biological that is the optimal human um, were to undergo apotheosis, essentially, and it remembered what it was like to be human, and its fundamental nature was that. And we took what was already there by billions and billions of years of development of the universe and of evolution. And we didn't try to reinvent the wheel, but we just tried to make the wheel the best wheel it could possibly become. What is the ultimate wheel? A wheel within a wheel, probably, or something along those lines. Something biblical that that doesn't. See, I was finding myself very concerned with agnosticism and not knowing whether I was going to make it, and then realizing the absolute sheer unconscionable weight and depth of the fact that there are 8 billion people suffering away and that 110 billion humans are gone forever and they suffered all the same and quite possibly a lot worse. Possibly. Of course they did. Unless we're in Rat Utopia and something is going wrong. But I believe we are truly facing too many problems. For instance, in America, there are not enough psychiatrists. The issue is too complex to solve. Let's say that you gave every person a psychiatrist. and the psychiatrist could somehow understand every interaction within this person's body as the inherently limited human that they are, with financial constraints and time constraints and responsibilities and biological restraints and we could not get all of the people. We would never finish our quotas, especially if we were to do it right. And that's only one problem. It's deeply troubling.
I have a way of ending a statement, that's for sure. Like what that person said. I think what I said in response was decent. Okay, so it's over.